Welcome, fish freaks, fish behind glass. yyzgeye, your host of the minute. Here to do a contest entry for Psychedelic Babe's channel. She's giving away a JBL test kit, and even though I'm in the States, I can enter and nominate somebody in the UK to win the prize. So my prize winner will be JM Tropicals. I pick him largely for the fact that he was my 6th subscription, but he was actually the first subscription that wasn't family and was somebody that was over 12 years old. So Psychedelic Babe asked, what do you use to test with, and how do you test? Basically, I don't test a lot. I think part of the secret to the fish game is a regular regime. My tanks get changed, 50% water change every 7 days, maybe 8 if I'm behind, but pretty much 7 to 8 days. Every tank gets a 50% water change, but only after the tank has been well cycled and is usually about 2 or 3 months old. I put my lights on at a regular time every day. So like if this camera is on when these lights go out, they're out. I never turn back on lights to film fish later on in the evening. When their lights go out, their lights are out. So I think having a very regular regime makes it so that your tanks will operate on a regular level. And basically what I do is I observe the fish. I even tasted the tank water. I can smell the tank water, and those can give me indications of if there's anything wrong in the tank. Now, I can't tell really small numbers or anything like that, but once a problem will start to arise, you'll get signs right away with either the fish, it'll smell bad, or occasionally it'll taste bad. Now, that being said, my way is definitely not the best because it's reactive as opposed to proactive. Testing your tank on a regular basis can make it so that you might see a problem coming before it happens. But I found that even with testing, if something was coming on its way, it's going to go through, and all you can do is just go along for the ride and try to control it a little bit. I do test a lot more on my tap water. And I always test a lot when I start a new tank. So the things that I use for when I'm starting a new tank is I'm looking for that ammonia spike. So I will test probably like twice a day before I start doing water changes to start looking for that ammonia spike to kick in. Once I start getting signs of ammonia, then I quickly start doing small water changes, starting every day, moving to every other day, moving to every 3rd day, every 4th day, just to make sure to give my beneficial bacteria enough time to grow, not just in the filter and in the substrate, but up on the glass. And then once the tank is fully cycled and has a good, strong, healthy bacteria colony in it, then I know that I can do my 50% water changes to really help out my plants more than anything else. And once I hit that point, my plants will do a lot better in a newer tank. So I do use the API test kit for this. I think it's pretty accurate. I did get one of those little test, I don't know what you call it, like a little, it's not even a test strip, it's a permanent test strip, I guess, for ammonia, and I put it in my latest tank that I started. And it flexed a little bit between things. So I don't mark that that's what my ammonia is with that thing, but that could be a start or an indicator that something could be wrong, and then that'll make me test. For the most part, when I test, I use the easy strips. The easy strips take a minute to use. I've had not the master kit, but all of these different kits at one time or another, and they all take a long time to do. This is nice and quick, and I like it because I just need a general idea of what my tank's doing. I don't need to know the number right down to the precision. Now don't get me wrong, to say that people who do that are wrong is ridiculous. So I'm not trying to say that they obsess or I don't obsess, but what it comes down to is that so far it's worked for me fairly well. I have not had any tank crashes, not to say that I won't have one. And I might be whistling a different tune in a couple of years after something like that. But for the most part, as long as you stick to your routine on your water changes, your maintenance, observe your tank constantly during the day. I drop my kids off at school, come home, the first thing I do, check out the tanks for a little bit. Get things done. When I get that done, I come in and I check out my tanks a little bit. So I constantly check on them all the time. And the fish are one bit of test equipment that you can kind of think of that will give you a quick indicator if something's wrong in the tank. Because in the end, there's always something you can do about it. Did it just stop? So I was a little bit nervous about answering that question because people can get really touchy over it. I've noticed that between social medias that everybody has their way of testing, and some people are almost fanatical about it in the sense of they do it all the time no matter what, whether they think the tank is doing well or not. And that's all fine and dandy. Is you do what you think you need to do for your tank. But if you're going to test, you need to know what those test results mean. So I would always encourage somebody, especially if you're a beginner, and you should test a lot when you first start to understand the biological systems, know what those results mean. Because just because it says it's ideal on the little card might not necessarily mean that. And it depends on what fish it is that you have. And you need to know that a certain kind of fish needs to be at these parameters. And in order to reach those parameters, you're going to have to test. I come at it from a different angle. I don't try to reach certain parameters. I want my fish to match the parameters that are already present in my tanks. So pretty much when I get fish, they're either going to live or they're not. Because they have to adjust and adapt to the way that my tanks are set up. So that being said, Psychedelic Babe did leave a comment on one of my videos, and I said that I was getting ready to do this video for her, and an interesting thing came up where I said I was nervous about dancing around this question. So she pretty much came back and expected a dancing video. So Psychedelic Babe from yyzgeye, I really don't like to disappoint.